All right, if you've been on TikTok or Instagram lately, you've probably seen a couple of videos just like this.
This right here shows you that America's about to go into recession.
Beauty trends are recession clues, like how everybody is suddenly into princess nails.
Are Labubus an economic indicator for a recession? Besides being super cute, the rise actually ties into a larger pattern, how consumers adjust their spending in uncertain times.
So all over TikTok, people are calling different trends and phenomena recession indicators. But what does this trend actually mean, and what does it tell us about how much we talk about tough economic times? Jessica Moorhouse is a personal finance expert and author of Everything But Money. Jessica, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you never know what's going to happen these days, when the trends are going to set off, where you're going to see them. This one on TikTok. So what do you think this viral meme is talking about recession indicators says about the way that we are currently talking about money?
I think overall what this trend is saying is what the overall sentiment of the economy, the stock market, the world at large is with Gen Z, millennials especially. I have a problem with a lot of these indicators because, we've seen a lot of these indicators. This is nothing new, FYI. Nothing on TikTok is new. It's just repackaged because there used to be lots of small indicators to kind of cause a lot of worry and anxiety with people that usually don't have much to do with anything. There was actually an indicator back in the 20s that some economists said, if we're seeing hemlines grow longer, that means we're headed towards a recession if people are wearing longer skirts. And there's a bunch of other ones out there that usually have nothing to do with anything. So I feel like, it might be just like to get a good sense of like, how are people feeling? How are they reacting to, the news, the uncertainty that once again we're in. Just similarly, we were in this kind of position in 2020, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of recession talk. Here we are again, just 5 years later. But what I would, really advise is, number one, don't ever get any kind of financial or economy news from TikTok. But, really look at the real indicators, such as GDP contraction, lower industrial output, growing unemployment, the stock market declining, the inverted yield curve. And when you look at some of these actual real indicators of a possible recession, the story may look a little bit different, or it may not be very clear if we are actually headed to a recession or when that will be. Just as an example, GDP actually increased by 0.5% in the first quarter of the year. Although we have seen growing unemployment, that could also be for a number of reasons. I know a lot of people are concerned about their jobs because of AI and things like that. So it may not necessarily just be due to, companies worried about a possible recession. It could be due to multiple reasons. And the stock market is actually up in Canada. We're actually doing really well. We're at kind of an all-time high. Not really the same thing in the US. And so there's a lot of factors to really take a look at besides, I don't know, Beanie Babies or whatever the hell those things were.
Beanie Babies, that's bringing me way back. I remember the first one. But, I think you said something important really early on. This isn't new information. It's just being absorbed maybe to a younger audience through TikTok, but things haven't changed. So sticking with the younger generation, obviously they have an uncertain financial future, as many of us do during this time. What do you think this trend says for them when you see stuff like this on TikTok, on social media?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, I don't love that it is, maybe causing them undue, fear and anxiety and making them want to do things that maybe won't be good for their financial futures. If you're hearing we're headed for a recession, you're going to be, less likely to start investing because you think, well, maybe I should just be, incredibly frugal, save all my pennies, and maybe I should stick with my current job, even though it doesn't pay well and I don't love it. I'm just not going to take any risk because taking a risk during these uncertain times seems like a bad idea. However, sometimes it makes sense to maybe look for a better paying job if they're out there, because that could actually help you. If we do enter a recession, you're going to be earning a higher income. Same with investing, even though a lot of people are afraid to invest when maybe the stock market looks a bit volatile. Investing as soon as possible, especially when you're young, is one of the best things that you can do. And so delaying that by a couple years due to fear from watching these TikTokers make you afraid of doing anything with your money is not something that I would recommend at all.
Well, wise words in an uncertain time. Jessica, thanks so much for stopping by and spending some time with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
And don't forget, you can pick up Jessica Moorhouse's book, Everything But Money, at your favorite local bookshop.